Part 1. They said Earth was a horror show. A nightmare planet where everything wanted to kill you, eat you, or both. The Galactic Coalition had labeled it Class 12 Deathworld, the highest danger rating in known space. Only 3 other planets held that designation, and 2 of them were quarantined military zones. So when Vale stepped off the transport shuttle at the Zenith Military Academy on the pristine garden world of Salora Prime, every eye turned to stare. She did not look like a monster. She looked, well, human. Average height by galactic standards. No visible armor plating. No natural weapons. Soft skin that would not stop a blade. Hair the color of autumn leaves, tied back in a braid. Green eyes that seemed too calm, too steady. She wore the standard academy jumpsuit in charcoal gray, boots that had seen better days, and carried a single duffel bag over her shoulder. The other cadets whispered, pointed, laughed. That is the Terran. A Velka cadet hissed to his friend. The Velkars were impressive specimens, standing nearly 7 feet tall with 4 arms and exoskeletons that could deflect plasma fire. She looks like she would break if I sneezed on her. His friend, a crystalline shardling whose body refracted light into rainbow patterns, chimed with amusement. Perhaps they sent the wrong human. Maybe this one is their equivalent of a child. Kira heard every word. Her hearing was excellent, a gift from ancestors who had hunted in the dark and listened for predators in the night. She said nothing. Just kept walking toward the registration hall, her boots clicking on the polished marble floors. The academy was beautiful. Soaring architecture of white stone and living crystal, gardens that bloomed with flowers from 100 worlds, artificial streams that sang as they flowed through carefully designed channels. Everything was soft here. Safe. Salora Prime had no predators larger than a house cat. No weather that could kill you. No diseases that evolution had not already solved with a simple immune system upgrade. It was paradise. Kira hated it already. The registration process was quick. Retinal scan. DNA sample. Biometric profile. The Saloran administrator, a floating jellyfish-like being named Counselor Thresh, reviewed her file with what might have been concern. Hard to tell with a species that communicated through bioluminescent pulses. Miss Vale, Thresh's translator, rendered his lights into galactic common. I see here that Earth has waived the standard physical enhancement protocols for your training. Is this correct? Yes, sir, Kira replied. You understand that other cadets will have access to genetic modifications, cybernetic enhancements, and adaptive armor systems? I understand. A pause. More light pulses. May I ask why Earth chose to send an unaugmented candidate? Kira smiled. It was not a warm smile. They said you would find out soon enough. Thresh's lights flickered in what his species considered a shrug. Very well. Your quarters are in Dormitory 7, Section C. Combat assessments begin tomorrow at 0600 hours. Dismissed. Dormitory 7 was co-ed, housing 60 cadets from 24 species. Kira's room was small but functional. A bed that adjusted to her physiology, a desk with a holographic interface, a hygiene station, and a window that looked out over the academy's central plaza. She unpacked quickly. 3 changes of clothes. A photo of her family. A small stone from a beach back home. A knife her grandfather had given her, though she doubted she would be allowed to keep it once inspections started. That night, in the communal dining hall, the whispering continued. Kira sat alone at a table in the corner, eating something the menu claimed was protein synthesis blend optimized for carbon-based bipeds. It tasted like cardboard soaked in sadness. A shadow fell across her table. She looked up. 3 cadets. The Velka from earlier, flanked by 2 others. A Kryn, reptilian and compact with scales that shifted colors based on mood, is currently showing aggressive red. And a Maltran, insectoid with 4 legs and mandibles that clicked constantly. You are in my seat, Terran, the Velker said. His voice was deep, resonant, the kind of voice used to being obeyed. Kira glanced around the half-empty dining hall. At least 40 empty tables. Seems like there are plenty of other seats. I want this one. She took another bite of her terrible food. Chewed slowly. Swallowed. Then I guess you will have to wait until I am finished. The Velka's 4 arms flexed. His exoskeleton plates shifted, a threat display. Do you know who I am? Someone with poor social skills? The Kryn hissed with laughter. The Velka's face darkened. I am Draxon Kell, son of High Commander Kell of the Velker War Fleet. My family has produced warriors for 6 generations. And you, little softskin, are going to learn your place. Kira set down her fork. Looked up at him with those 2 calm green eyes. My place is right here, eating this awful food, trying to have a quiet evening. Your place is anywhere else. So how about you take your entourage and go play soldier somewhere I am not? Draxon's hand shot out, fast as a striking snake. He grabbed her tray and flipped it. Food and dishes went flying, clattering across the floor. The dining hall went silent. Every cadet turned to watch. "Oops," Draxon said, his voice dripping with mock concern. "How clumsy of me." Kira stood slowly. She was a full foot shorter than him. Probably weighed half as much. She looked at the spilled food, then at him, then at the food again. When she spoke, her voice was soft. Conversational. Almost friendly. "You know what is funny about humans?" Draxon crossed his upper arms over his chest. "What?" "We are really, really good at holding grudges." She walked away. Did not run. Did not hurry. Just cleaned up the mess with mechanical efficiency, deposited her tray, and left the dining hall while every eye followed her. Behind her, the Kryn muttered, "That was strange." Draxon laughed. "She is scared. Tomorrow, during combat trials, I will make sure she understands what happens when you disrespect your betters." If he had been paying attention, if any of them had been paying attention, they might have noticed the small smile on Kira's face as she walked away. The kind of smile a predator wears when it knows the prey has just made a terrible mistake. Combat assessments began at dawn. The cadets assembled in the main training arena, a massive dome with adjustable gravity, environmental controls, and holograms that could simulate any battlefield in the galaxy. There were 120 cadets in total, divided into groups of 12 for initial evaluations. Kira's group included Draxon, the Kryn whose name was Sethes, and 9 others. The instructor was a legend. Commander Vorik Dane, a Thessian battlemaster who had fought in the Corrigan conflicts and the siege of Terminus Station. Thesians were apex predators on their homeworld, evolved from pack hunters. Vorik stood 8 feet tall, covered in dark gray fur, with forward-facing eyes and a jaw that could bite through titanium. He wore the black and gold uniform of an Academy senior instructor, medals covering his chest. "Listen up, cadets." Vorik's voice was a growl that resonated in your chest. "This is your first combat assessment. I need to see what you are made of. Strength, speed, tactics, survival instinct. Some of you will excel. Some of you will fail. Some of you will quit and go home crying to your families." His eyes swept across the group and stopped on Kira. "And some of you probably should not be here at all." A few cadets snickered. Kira's expression did not change. "We start with basic hand-to-hand combat. No weapons. No enhancements. Raw skill only. First match." Vorik's gaze locked onto Kira. Terran. Front and center. She stepped forward. The arena floor shifted beneath her feet, holographic walls rising to form a circular fighting ring 20 meters in diameter. "Your opponent." Vorik gestured to Draxon. "Cadet Kell. Enter the ring." Draxon grinned, all 4 arms flexing as he stepped into the circle. The size difference was comical. He looked like he could break her in half without trying. The other cadets gathered around the ring, some looking excited, others uncomfortable. Vorik raised one clawed hand. "Standard rules. Fight until submission, knockout, or I call it. Excessive force will result in disqualification and disciplinary action." "Understood." Both nodded. "Begin." Draxon did not waste time. He charged forward, all 4 arms reaching to grab, to crush, to overwhelm with sheer size and strength. It was a solid strategy against most opponents. Kira was not the most of the opponents. She moved. Not backward, not to the side. Forward. Into his charge. Her movement was liquid, economical, with no wasted motion. She ducked under his upper arms, pivoted, and drove her elbow into his kidney. Or where a kidney would be on a human. Close enough on a Velka. Draxon grunted, stumbling. Before he could recover, she was behind him, sweeping his leg. 4 arms meant better balance, but balance did not matter when your center of gravity was compromised and momentum was working against you. He went down hard. The arena floor was padded, but the impact still drove the air from his lungs. Kira did not follow up. Just stepped back, hands raised in a ready position, waiting. Draxon's face went from surprise to embarrassment to rage in 3 seconds flat. He roared, pushing himself up. This time, he was more careful, circling, using his reach advantage. He feinted with his upper arms, struck with his lower. Fast. Powerful. Kira blocked the first strike, redirected the second, and ducked the third. Her movements were precise, practiced. She had trained since she was 6 years old in a dozen different martial arts, most of them designed to let smaller fighters defeat larger ones.
Judo,
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu,
Krav Maga, Silat, Systema.
Her instructors had been military veterans, fighters who had survived real combat, who understood that pretty forms meant nothing when someone was trying to kill you. Draxon pressed his advantage, throwing combinations, trying to corner her.
She let him.
Waited for the opening.
And there it was.
He overcommitted on a straight punch, his upper left arm extending too far, his weight shifting forward. Kira grabbed the arm, turned her hip, and threw him. A perfect Ippon Sui Nage. 7 feet of Velker warrior sailed through the air and crashed onto the mat.
This time, she followed.
She transitioned into an armbar before he could recover. Hyperextended the joint. Not enough to break it, but enough to send pain screaming through his nervous system.
Yield, she said quietly.
Draxon's pride warred with his pain.
Pain won. I yield.
She released immediately, rolled away, and stood up.
Breathing steady. Not even sweating.
The arena was silent. Every cadet stared, mouths open, mandibles slack, bioluminescent organs dim with shock. Vorik's eyes narrowed. He stepped into the ring, looking down at Draxon, who was clutching his arm, and then at Kira.
Adequate technique. Efficient application. However,
he moved faster than something that size should be able to move. His hand lashed out, an open palm strike aimed at Kira's head. Not full force, not trying to kill her. But hard enough to teach a lesson. Fast enough that most cadets would never see it coming. Kira's hand came up. Caught his wrist. Stopped the strike cold. For one frozen heartbeat, instructor and student locked eyes. Vorik's expression went from confident to surprised to something that might have been respect.
Or recognition. Or both.
Then Kira did something that would become legend at Zenith Academy. Something that would be whispered about in dormitories and discussed in tactical analysis classes for years to come.
She hit back. Not a slap. Not a push.
A full power cross, pivoting from her hips, driving through with her shoulder, her entire body behind the punch. Her fist connected with Vorik's jaw. The sound echoed through the arena like a gunshot. The 8-foot-tall Theshan battlemaster, veteran of 100 battles, decorated warrior and academy legend, stumbled backward 3 steps. His hand went to his face. His eyes went wide. Blood trickled from the corner of his mouth. The silence was shattered.
Cadets gasped. Someone screamed.
Sethys made a sound like a strangled whistle. Draxon, still on the ground, froze completely. Kira lowered her hand. Her knuckles were bleeding slightly. She did not seem to notice.
Sir.
You said no excessive force. You did not say no self-defense. Vorik worked his jaw. Spit blood onto the mat. And then, to everyone's complete shock, he smiled. It was not a nice smile. It was the smile of a predator recognizing another predator. The smile of a warrior meeting a warrior. Deathworlder, he said, the word carrying weight, recognition, understanding. I should have known. He turned to address the assembled cadets, his voice carrying to every corner of the arena. Let this be your first real lesson at Zenith Academy. Never, ever, underestimate an opponent based on appearance. Humans come from a planet that has tried to kill them for 3 million years. Everything on Earth is either predator or prey, and humans learn to be both. They are persistence hunters who ran prey to exhaustion across continents. They are apex predators who climbed to the top of their food chain with nothing but sharp rocks and spite. And they are survivors who looked at a world full of things trying to kill them and decided to domesticate the wolves instead. He locked eyes with Kira again. Cadet Vale. You have just made yourself very popular and very unpopular at the same time. Every instructor here will want to test you. Every cadet will either want to prove themselves against you or avoid you completely. Welcome to Zenith Academy.
Kira nodded once. Thank you, sir. Dismissed.
Get your hand looked at. The rest of you pair up. Let us see if anyone else has the spine to surprise me. As Kira walked toward the exit, headed for the medical bay, cadets parted before her like a sea.
Some stared with awe. Others with fear.
A few with calculating interest. Draxon, still sitting on the mat holding his arm, watched her go. His expression was complicated.
Humiliation. Respect.
And perhaps, the beginning of understanding.
The Kryn, Sethys, approached him. So.
Still think she looks like she would break if you sneezed on her. Draxon said nothing. Just stared at his 4 hands, wondering how someone with only 2 had made them seem inadequate. In the medical bay, A floating medical drone scanned Kira's hand, applied synthetic skin to her knuckles, and administered a mild painkiller that she had declined twice before accepting. The drone's AI seemed confused by her tolerance for pain. She sat alone in the sterile white room, flexing her fingers, making sure everything still worked properly.
The door hissed open.
She expected another drone. Maybe a medic. Commander Vorik filled the doorway. He walked in, carrying 2 bottles of something blue and fizzing.
Handed her one.
Saloran synthesis beverage. Closest thing they have to alcohol, though it will not get you drunk. Just tastes less awful than the regular drinks.
Kira accepted it. Took a sip. He was right.
It still tasted awful, but less so. Vorik sat on the medical bench across from her. It creaked under his weight. You have good instincts. Your instructors on Earth trained you well.
Thank you, sir.
That punch could have broken my jaw.
Yes, sir.
You pulled it at the last second.
She met his eyes. Yes, sir. He nodded slowly. Why?
Because you were testing me, not trying to hurt me. And because breaking an instructor's jaw on the first day seemed like a poor long-term strategy. Vorik's laugh was a deep rumble.
Smart.
Most Deathworlders let their instincts override their judgment. They forget that survival is not just about fighting. It is about knowing when to fight, when to retreat, and when to make allies instead of enemies. He took a long drink from his bottle. I fought alongside humans during the Terminus Station siege. 3 Terran Marines held Corridor 9 for 6 hours against a Corrigan assault battalion. They should have died in the first 10 minutes. Instead, they killed 78 enemies, wounded hundreds more, and only fell back when their ammunition ran out. Even then, they switched to improvised weapons. One of them beat a Corrigan heavy trooper to death with his own severed arm.
Kira blinked.
That seems excessive. That is what I said. Do you know what the Marine told me? He said, and I quote, "Sir, we are from Detroit. This is just Tuesday." Despite herself, Kira laughed. A real laugh, the first since she had arrived. Sounds about right. Vorik's expression grew serious. You need to understand something, Cadet Vale. This academy prepares warriors for the Galactic Coalition Defense Force.
The wars we fight are not clean. Not honorable.
When the Zethari Hive attacked Colonies 4, they killed 6 million civilians in the first wave. When the Krull Dominion invaded the Terran system, they used biological weapons that turned people inside out. Our enemies do not follow rules. They do not care about your potential or your spirit or your clever techniques.
He leaned forward.
What I am saying is this. You are skilled. Dangerous even. But out there, in real combat, skill is not always enough. You will face enemies with plasma cannons, molecular disruptors, nerve gas, and weapons you cannot even imagine. Your soft human body will not protect you. Are you prepared for that? Kira was quiet for a long moment.
When she spoke, her voice was steady.
Sir, I come from a planet where the weather can kill you. Where invisible organisms can eat you from the inside. Where creatures exist that can bite you and make you bleed out in minutes. We have spiders whose venom liquefies your organs. Fish that can electrocute you. Plants that cause pain so intense that people have killed themselves to make it stop. And that is just the wildlife. Humans also invented nuclear weapons, chemical warfare, and reality television.
She set down her bottle.
Every human who survives to adulthood on Earth has already won 1,000,000 invisible battles. We are born too early, too weak, too helpless. We should die as infants.
But we do not. We adapt. We learn. We survive. And then we thrive.
Her green eyes met his without flinching.
So yes, Commander. I am prepared.
Because I have been preparing my entire life. Vorik studied her for a long moment.
Then nodded. Good.
Because tomorrow gets harder. And every day after that gets harder still. The cadets who laughed at you today will be studying you tonight. They will analyze your techniques, plan counters, and form alliances. Some will want to prove they are better. Others will want revenge.
Let them come. They will.
He stood, moving toward the door. Paused. One more thing. That move you used on Draxon, the throw. What do humans call it?
Ipon suinage.
One arm shoulder throw.
Teach it to me sometime.
I would like to add it to my repertoire.
Anytime, sir. He left.
The door hissed shut behind him. Kira sat alone in the medical bay, flexing her bandaged hand, thinking about tomorrow. About the challenges ahead. About the cadets who would underestimate her and the ones who would not. About instructors who would push her to her breaking point and beyond.
She smiled.
That same predator smile from before. Earth had not sent her here to make friends. Earth had sent her here to prove a point. To show the galaxy that humans belonged among the stars. That Deathworlders were not monsters to be feared or curiosities to be studied. They were warriors. Survivors. The descendants of persistence hunters who had chased prey across continents and climbed to the apex of the most dangerous food chain in known space, armed with nothing but determination and violence of action. Tomorrow would be harder. Every day would be harder. Good. She had not come here for the easy. She had come here to show them what a human could do. And she was just getting started. Like and subscribe to our channel, and let us know in the comments how you liked this story.